April 5th, Houston, Texas, 7 p.m. A family member stands outside a locked door, calling a name that won't be answered. Inside that suburban home, a life has already ended. Not from a stranger's hand, not from a random act of violence, but from something far more common and far more terrifying. The catalyst? A decision. A personal choice made in pursuit of financial independence. A secret kept to avoid confrontation. And a discovery that would turn jealousy into rage, and rage into an act that could never be undone. This is the story of Stephanie Ingram, a 33-year-old medical assistant, a mother, and a woman who wanted something that should have been simple: autonomy over her own life. But in a relationship where control had quietly replaced trust, that desire would cost her everything. Before we talk about how Stephanie Ingram died, we need to understand how she lived. Stephanie was 33 years old. She worked part-time as a medical assistant in Houston, balancing her career with raising her young daughter. Friends described her as private, structured, someone who preferred routine and stability over spontaneity. She wasn't flashy. She didn't seek attention. She lived a modest life, one that, from the outside, looked perfectly normal. But those who knew her well saw something else beneath the surface. A woman who was beginning to feel trapped. A woman searching for independence in small, careful ways. Stephanie had been married to Anthony John Thornton for nearly 5 years. He worked as a warehouse technician, and to neighbors, they seemed like just another working-class couple navigating the challenges of marriage and parenthood. But according to friends and family, cracks had been forming for a while. Anthony was controlling not in dramatic, obvious ways, but in the quiet, insidious ones that often go unnoticed until it's too late. He monitored her social media. He questioned where she went and who she spoke to. He discouraged her from going out alone. Financial control was another issue. Anthony managed most of the household expenses, while Stephanie's part-time income covered only smaller bills. That imbalance created a dependency, one that frustrated her more and more over time. Stephanie told friends she wanted something of her own, a project, an income source that belonged entirely to her, something that gave her a sense of autonomy she hadn't felt in years. It's a feeling many people can relate to, that desire to be more than just a role someone else defined for you. To be seen as a whole person, not just a spouse or a parent, but an individual with your own goals and agency. And it was that desire, that completely normal human desire, that would ultimately lead to her death. By late March 2023, Stephanie made a choice. She decided to create an OnlyFans account. Now, before we go further, it's important to understand what this meant to her and what it didn't. This wasn't about rebellion. It wasn't about seeking validation from strangers. It was practical. It was business. A way to earn side income without changing her work schedule or leaving her home. A way to build savings without having to ask permission. She approached it carefully. She used a pseudonym. She concealed her identity. She posted minimal content, suggestive, but not explicit. To her, it was an experiment, a controlled venture, a way to take back a piece of her financial life. And she kept it secret from Anthony. Why? Because she knew how he would react. She knew that he would see it not as her choice, but as a betrayal. Not as her body and her decision, but as something that belonged to him, something she had no right to control. Her account went live only a few weeks before the incident. She posted sparingly. She was testing the waters, seeing if this could work. But secrets don't stay hidden forever. At some point, investigators believe through screenshots or links shared on social media, Anthony discovered the account. And when he did, everything changed. The discovery wasn't just a shock to Anthony. It was a perceived humiliation, a loss of control, a challenge to his authority in the relationship. According to witnesses, arguments began almost immediately.
This is what happens when you don't want to talk to him. This is what happens when you lock yourself in a car to be away from him. Yeah. Let this just be a warning to any young lady out here or whatever that thinks she got somebody, you know, her man, you know, and even if she not doing that, like, just know these niggas not shit at all. They'll treat you real good for a little while, give you a baby, even though you made it clear that you already had two and you did not want another one, just to end up just like this.
Raised voices were heard in the days leading up to April 5th, though no police reports were ever filed. Stephanie continued going to work, but coworkers noticed she seemed distracted, withdrawn. One friend later said she seemed like she was bracing for something, though no one knew what. Text messages between Stephanie and Anthony during this period revealed growing tension. Words like embarrassment, trust, and deception appeared repeatedly. Anthony's browser history showed multiple searches related to her OnlyFans account, attempts to identify subscribers, to remove content, to undo what had been done. Financial records painted a picture of instability. The couple's shared bank account showed recent disputes about spending. To Anthony, the OnlyFans account wasn't just a betrayal of their marriage, it was a threat to the financial control he had maintained over her. And for someone who measured their worth through control, that threat was intolerable. This is where we have to pause and acknowledge something crucial. This case isn't really about OnlyFans. It's about power. It's about a man who believed he had the right to dictate every aspect of his wife's life, her money, her body, her choices. The platform was just the trigger. The real issue had been building for years. The morning of April 5th began like any other. Stephanie woke up, went through her routine, and dropped her daughter off at a relative's home. Phone records show she exchanged several brief text messages that morning, nothing that indicated distress or fear. At approximately 3 p.m., Anthony returned home earlier than expected. Neighbors later reported hearing voices inside the house, but they couldn't make out details. It wasn't unusual for couples to argue. No one thought to intervene. By 4 p.m., Stephanie had stopped responding to calls and messages. Investigators believe the argument began shortly after Anthony arrived. It revolved around her OnlyFans account, what he saw as betrayal, what she saw as her right to autonomy. There were no witnesses to what happened next, but the evidence tells the story. The confrontation escalated. It became physical. Stephanie resisted forensic evidence confirmed that, but she was overpowered. Neighbors reported a short burst of noise. Then, silence. What happened in those final minutes will never be fully known, but we know the outcome. By early evening, Stephanie's family became concerned. She wasn't answering her phone. She hadn't picked up her daughter. Something was wrong. A relative went to the house and found the door locked. They called 911. When police arrived just after 7 p.m., they found Stephanie unresponsive in the living room. The scene indicated a violent confrontation. A weapon was recovered nearby. Anthony was not at the home. He was located several hours later at a friend's residence and taken into custody without resistance. During questioning, he admitted to the confrontation. He claimed it got out of control. He expressed anger over her OnlyFans account, calling it disrespectful to their marriage. But investigators quickly determined that his version of events didn't align with the forensic evidence. The investigation moved swiftly. Digital forensics became the backbone of the case. Investigators obtained access to both Stephanie's and Anthony's phones, social media accounts, and email records. What they found painted a clear picture. Stephanie's OnlyFans account showed posts made less than 24 hours before her death. Anthony's browser history revealed obsessive searches about her account, attempts to identify who was subscribing, how to delete content, and how to track her online activity. Text messages between the couple in the days prior displayed escalating tension. References to humiliation, betrayal, and loss of trust filled their exchanges. Interviews with family members and neighbors revealed a troubling pattern. Relatives reported that Stephanie had recently expressed fear about how Anthony might react if he discovered her online activity. Friends said she was seeking independence, that she wanted her own financial footing, her own sense of control. Surveillance footage from cameras near the residence showed no other persons entering or leaving around the time of the incident. The weapon, the injuries, the timeline, everything pointed to one person. Within 3 days, Anthony was charged with second-degree murder. Prosecutors later upgraded the charge to first-degree murder after reviewing digital evidence that suggested premeditation. The evidence was overwhelming. This wasn't a moment of passion. This wasn't an accident. This was the culmination of years of control, resentment, and a man's belief that his wife's body and choices belonged to him. The trial began nearly 10 months after Stephanie's death. By then, media coverage had exploded. Headlines emphasized the OnlyFans connection, framing the case as a cautionary tale about digital exposure and modern relationships. But that framing missed the point. This wasn't about OnlyFans. This was about domestic violence. This was about control. This was about a woman who made a choice about her own body and paid for it with her life. The prosecution presented a timeline supported by digital forensics, text messages, and witness testimony. They argued that Anthony's actions were deliberate, driven by jealousy, humiliation, and a fear of losing control. The defense countered that the incident was a moment of emotional instability rather than premeditated intent. They introduced evidence of financial stress, marital arguments, and Anthony's mental health struggles. Their strategy was to reduce the charge to manslaughter by framing the act as impulsive rather than planned. But the evidence told a different story. Prosecutors highlighted Anthony's behavior after the incident. He didn't call for help. He didn't attempt to aid Stephanie. Instead, he deleted digital files, left the scene, and only cooperated once he was located by police. Messages he sent to a friend in the days before expressed anger and humiliation about Stephanie's online content. The prosecution framed these as proof of motive, connecting emotional volatility to a sense of ownership. Throughout the trial, Anthony displayed minimal emotion. Observers described him as detached, rarely making eye contact with the jury. After several days of testimony, the jury reached a verdict: guilty of second-degree murder. Anthony John Thornton was sentenced to 35 years in prison without the possibility of parole. Following the sentencing, Stephanie's family released a statement. They emphasized the importance of recognizing warning signs in controlling relationships. They urged people to take concerns seriously, even when they seem subtle, even when they're hidden behind closed doors. Notably, the family declined to focus on the OnlyFans connection. They made it clear that detail had been sensationalized by the media. It distracted from the real issue: violence, control, and the ways that abuse manifests in modern relationships. Online, the case sparked fierce debate. Some focused on issues of privacy and autonomy, praising Stephanie's right to make her own choices. Others questioned moral boundaries, asking whether her decision somehow contributed to what happened. But here's the truth: Stephanie's choices didn't cause her death. Anthony's need for control did. Psychologists and legal experts have analyzed this case as part of a growing pattern where digital expression clashes with traditional notions of ownership and reputation. Jealousy linked to online activity has become a recurring motive in domestic crimes. But the root cause is always the same: the belief that one person has the right to control another. Stephanie Ingram wanted independence. She wanted financial autonomy. She wanted to make decisions about her own body and her own life. And she died because someone believed he had the right to take that away from her. The case of Stephanie Ingram is a tragedy on every level. It's a reminder that domestic violence doesn't always look the way we expect. It doesn't always involve visible bruises or dramatic confrontations. Sometimes it's quiet, insidious, hidden behind the facade of a normal relationship. It's also a reminder that independence, something we all deserve, can be seen as a threat by those who measure their worth through control. Stephanie's story forces us to ask hard questions. When does privacy become perceived as betrayal? At what point does a partner's curiosity or independence become a threat in someone else's mind? And how well do we really know the people closest to us, both online and behind closed doors? Most importantly, could this have been prevented? The answer, painfully, is yes. If we listened better, if we took concerns seriously, if we recognize that control is abuse, even when it doesn't look violent. Stephanie Ingram deserved better. She deserved safety. She deserved autonomy. She deserved a life. And the best way we can honor her memory is to learn from her story, to recognize the warning signs, to speak up when something feels wrong, and to understand that no one ever deserves to lose their life for making a choice about their own body. If this case resonated with you, I encourage you to leave a comment below. What warning signs do you think we need to watch for in relationships? How do we better support people who are experiencing control or abuse? If you want to stay updated on cases like this, stories that matter, told with respect and depth, make sure you're subscribed to this channel with notifications turned on. Hit that like button if you found this video informative, and share it with anyone who needs to understand the real dynamics behind stories like Stephanie's. Thank you for watching. Until next time, stay safe, stay aware, and take care of each other.